Good afternoon, everybody. We are back. SFC Defined with Love at 5. Thank you for joining me today. Really appreciate you. I really, really do. Not going to keep you long today, but just wanted to pop in and just, for one, I want to say thank you guys so much for all of the birthday wishes, all of the happy birthday DMs and text and all of that stuff. I really, really appreciate you. You made me feel special. So thank you so much. Even people from all over just text and even talked about how they have enjoyed the show and keep doing what I'm doing. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate you for just taking the time out. I don't take that for granted. I'm truly grateful for you to just take the few minutes that you did to wish me a happy birthday. So yeah, I'm grateful. So thank you. This month we have been talking about expectations and the feeling that's associated with the mindset of expectation. I was listening to a guy today on, I think it was on TikTok, it might be on YouTube, something like that. But I think it was Greg Braden, if I'm not mistaken, and he was talking about our heart and how we associate our feelings, and we talk about how the feelings of the heart are very real. He said the heart has its own types of cells, and in those cells they are individualized thinkers. And I'm just paraphrasing and stuff. And so the feeling that's in your heart is associated with what you're experiencing on the outside. So we think it's the mind. We think our mind is what causes us to feel. And when I look at something, but no, he said it's the cells in the heart. So I thought about that thing and how it relates to us, or to what we're talking about this month, that feeling of expectation. And I thought about, and I know for the last couple of weeks, this is week 3 with that, for us talking about expectation. But I thought about how the feelings, the actual feelings that is associated whenever you're expecting something. Now, again, expectation can go either way. It can go when you're anticipating something negative to happen, and there is that expectation, and that type of expectation, there is a feeling of fear that is associated with that expectation, something negative. But then when you're anticipating something wonderful or something amazing, then there is that feeling of excitement, that overwhelming sense of excitement that is associated with expectation. So I really thought about it, and I really thought about how your heart is the governing factor to what you feel. So I guess, for example, when you consider something to be a negative experience, when you consider something that you anticipate something negative, it's all about your perception of it. I've learned over the course of the last few years, uh, who was it? Neville Goddard said this that really blew my mind. Hey, Sonia and Catherine, thank y'all so much. It really blew my mind. He says, there is nothing good or evil, but thinking makes it so. And that's Neville Goddard, a quote from Neville Goddard. And it's out of the book, The Feeling is the Secret. And it literally, I thought about that thing, and I thought about that thing, and I thought about that thing. And the example that he gave is pretty much like, I can have an experience and I can consider it a negative experience, and I can talk about it, I can cry over it, I can get angry over it. And it is what, but somebody else can have that exact same experience, and based off of their perception of it, they can think it's a very pleasant experience. So nothing is good or evil, but it is what my perception is. So I thought about that as it relates to our feeling of expectation, and how our perception determines whether or not there is a sense of fear, or there is a sense of faith or excitement, if you will. And that could not hold more true to every situation that you encounter. It is your perception of that. So when you wake up every day and there is this sense of expectation, you get to determine whether or not you call a negative or positive, and it is all based off of your perception. Here's another thing. I think we talked about it in detail last week. We talked about how gratitude is the foundation of expectation. You cannot have any type of expectation, especially pleasant expectations or positive expectations, without having a sense of gratitude. And I think that's amazing. The more gratitude you have for what you already have, and I think the Buddha said this, the more gratitude you have for what you already have, it creates you getting more. Okay. So when you are grateful for what you already have, it aligns you to what the Buddha calls the universe bringing you even more good things, if you will. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about how just that feeling of expectation and how you have the power to determine what that feeling of expectation actually feels like. Is it something that's going to ignite fear in you? Is it, think about it, you starting a new job tomorrow. You know, there's a sense of excitement, there's a sense of anxiety. You're expecting, but what are you expecting from that experience? Like, are you looking at it like, oh my God, I gotta go start. I got butterflies in my stomach. I don't know. It just don't feel right. I should have stayed where I was. Do you have that feeling of expectation? Or do you have that, man, I get a new job, I get a new salary, I get to meet new people, I get to create new experiences, you know, I get a better chance to spend more time with my family because the hours are shorter. So it's all centered around your perception of, and your feeling of expectation starts with your perception of whatever that experience may be. So just think about that for a minute. Feel free to chime in if you have questions or comments. You know, I welcome that. But I think we don't pay attention. I challenged you for the last couple of weeks to just really pay attention to your feeling of, whenever you are anticipating something as general as how you want the day to go. What is your feeling, or what is your expectation for today? There's an African author that I got a chance to meet virtually several months ago. And I think I told you he had a book that he entitled, and whatever the African term was, it translated in English to speak to your day. And that's basically setting an intent for whatever your day is, or what you want your day to look like. So after hearing that, I really literally started speaking to my day every morning. And I had been before, but I became more intentional. I became more mindful, if you will, of what I was actually saying before I ever get out of the bed in the morning. It's literally, I am speaking to my day. I am setting that day as if I can call it like I want it. You know what I mean? Like, I can literally say, you know, today is going to be a very, very productive day. I'm going to get this done, this done, this done. You know, today I'm going to have a day free of pain. I'm going to just expect everything to happen my way. Even being on the highway, I'm going to expect to get to where I have to go. There's not going to be any accidents. There's not going to be any mechanical failure. You know, everybody that I meet, they're going to speak to me. They're literally, I've literally learned how to be very, very intentional about my day and about what I speak into my day. And I set that feeling, I say it with such feeling, because I know that feeling it is the key. When I feel like I am going to have that kind of day, that is what is given back to me. And that's what I want to challenge you guys today to do again. Like, wake up every day and set that expectation for what you want your day to look like. So I took it a step further. And not only did I start speaking to my day, I started speaking to my night. Like, so when I get ready to get in the bed and I go to sleep or whatever, before I go to sleep, I start speaking to tonight is going to be a night of relaxation. It's going to be a night of rest and restoration. I'm going to be revitalized with energy. I'm going to be revitalized. I'm going to be ready to tap day in the morning. This is how I want to see my night. When I wake up, while I'm sleeping tonight, my body's going to heal itself. These are the kinds of things that I speak. And there is that feeling. There's a feeling of peace. There's a feeling of calmness because I am in control. I have that power to be able to speak to my day, to speak to my night. And I think that if we learn how to, one, set that intention or be mindful of what we're saying, then everything will align the way it wants to. We have the power to create our own lives. We really do. And I didn't believe that. I've not always believed that, but we do. We have the power to create our own lives. And nothing happens to you. It always happens through you. Okay? It doesn't happen to you. Everything that is happening on the outside of you is a mirror reflection of what is happening on the inside of you. You know, there have been several metaphysicists, there have been many scientists that have proven this, like scientifically proven that our thoughts are what they create things. Like our thoughts, they create our lives. Our thoughts create our experiences. And when we learn how to be intentional in our thinking, when we learn how to be intentional in how we feel, we get to create that beautiful life we want. That is all centered around the feeling of expectation. And when you center yourself around that feeling of expectation, every day is a good day. It may not always work out the way I intended for it to go, but it never happens in a way that I am just taken aback. And, you know, I've learned how to embrace, and I get to choose what I perceive to be as negative or perceive to be as positive. And if you got any sense, you're going to always choose the positive. And I want you to always choose that positive mindset and always have that expectation. You know, I was hanging out with some friends yesterday, and I actually went to a gun range for the first time. I was like shooting all kinds of guns and all this stuff, had a blast. But I was listening to some of the guys that were there, and they were talking about how, yeah, I don't ever leave home without, I have 2 or 3 guns on me at all times. I got some guns in my car. I don't ever go nowhere without my guns. And I'm like, but life isn't supposed to be like that. I cannot go around living in this fear of negative expectation. If that makes sense. Like I cannot just, like, in my opinion, you get what you prepare for. So if I prepare myself and have to shoot and that's always in the back of my mind, I'm going to eventually create that experience. I'm going to make it come to pass. It's going to become a reality where I would have to take my gun out. So I choose to see the beauty of the world. I choose to see the good in other people. Sometimes they live up to my expectations, sometimes they don't, and it's okay. But I have the intent. I'm not walking around in fear. I'm not walking around thinking, okay, I need a gun on my left hip. I need a gun on my right hip, in my right boot, in my left boot. I just cannot live my life like that. And, you know, I was sharing with these guys, like, if that's how you want to be, that's fine. But I choose not to live my life. I'm not looking for that. Because, you know, I taught you a long time ago, and we talked about a long time ago, whatever you look for, that's what you'll find. So I choose to look for peace. I choose to look for joy. I choose to look for happiness. And that's what I find. I don't run into people that's hateful and mean and nasty. They don't always act the way I act, but they still are not nasty and hateful and mean. And if I do, it's okay, because you know, I'm again a mirror reflection of what happens on the outside. It has to happen on the inside first. So, you know, at some point I may have been, you know, mean and nasty or whatever, but whatever the case may be, I'm able to embrace it and understand it. And that's all centered around that feeling of expectation. You know, we just have to be intentional about our thoughts and listen to our heart. That's where our feeling comes from. Our feeling. Look up Greg Braden. I think that's his name. Yeah, look up Greg Braden and see. He has done many studies about the cells of the heart and how they are independent thinkers, and they tell you it's like what we say, the gut feeling. Okay, it's the gut feeling, and is that intention, and you feel that, like when your gut is telling you don't go or you should go. That's your heart speaking to you. And when you do kind things, that's your heart speaking to you. When you do come in and there's fearful things, that's your heart speaking to you. So tap into that, tap into those feelings. Those feelings that lets you know if you're going towards your destiny or you're going away from your destiny. Okay, so think about that. Be intentional. And when you set that feeling of expectation, you understand that that feeling has to be so real. That feeling of you receiving whatever it is you want has to be so real. And it is that realness of that feeling that creates the manifestation. Candace says, I love that. Whatever you look for is what you will find. Absolutely. And that is so true. Sonia says, I can't live my life like that either, Corey. God give his angels charge over me. Absolutely. So, it's all a mindset. Everything is a mindset. Everything is a mindset. That's why I just told you, nothing comes to you. It always comes through you. So before you can experience anything on the outside, you have to experience first on the inside. That is a fact. That is a scientific proof that before anything happens to you on the outside, you have to experience it on the inside. Okay. And the manifestation of it happening on the outside first, say for example, like if you have this goal and you put it in your mind and you write it down and you think about it all the time, again, nothing happened on the outside until something happens. You don't get to see the manifestation of that goal until you have formed that dream, that vision of whatever it is in your head. So that's what you have to realize. It happens on the inside first before it can ever happen on the outside. You can attract sickness to you. You can attract headaches and difficult moments, or you can choose to feel and expect the good and the positive, and that's what comes to you. So your feeling. Also, check out Neville Goddard's book, The Feeling is the Secret. I think the feeling is the secret. Check that out. And it talks about how important our feelings are and how either they're going to drive us away from or drive us to whatever we are desiring. Okay, so check that out. That's my spiel for today, y'all. Any other questions or comments? I appreciate y'all so much. I'm looking to make sure I didn't miss anybody. But yeah, just know that you have the power. Thank you, Deontay. You have the power to speak to your day. And not only that, if you have the power to speak to your day, you also have the power to speak to your night. Set that expectation. Before you get to night, tell your night what you needed to give you. I expect you to give me good rest. I expect my rest not be broken. I expect my body to heal itself while I'm asleep. I expect for my mind to go to sleep and rest. I expect to wake up revitalized. This is how you speak to your night. And then in the morning, you thank God. Gratitude. Gratitude is the foundation of expectation. You thank God for a beautiful night. And then you start speaking to your day. Today is going to be the most productive day. Today, I'm going to be so full of energy. I'm going to get so much done. Today, I'm going to be blessed with creative thoughts and ideas. All of this stuff, that's your power. Tap into it. Use it. And stop waiting for somebody to tell you what to say. Just say it and feel it and change those expectations, because you get what you expect. Whatever you look for, you'll find. Again, love you guys. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful rest of the day, rest of the night, and we'll talk again next week. Bye.